I really didn't believe that I'd walk again because there was just so much going on with my legs at that point. I just didn't really see how I was going to improve.
In the early days in hospital, it's quite normal to experience difficulties sleeping. You may find that there are changes in your appetite, changes in your mood. You may be confused about some of the things that have taken place. This is all really normal, and in a sense, the key thing at this point is to try to engage with your existing sources of support, so the people that you normally turn to at times of stress, and also to use the staff that are here as well and let us know when you're struggling so that we can support you as best we can.
And we're trying to get you, functioning at your optimum. That means we have to look after up here as well.
While you're here, we will want you to do a lot of rehabilitation. The pathway that the plastic surgeons implement mean that you will be on bed rest for at least 3 days following your operation. So after that time, if they're happy with how the flap is looking, they will implement what we call a dangling regime. So dangling is ultimately letting the limb go into a gravity-dependent position, which is generally something like sitting on the edge of the bed. It is very normal to feel dizzy and quite woozy when this happens, because ultimately you're going from being in bed to sitting up for the first time in multiple days. The other thing you can feel is that your leg throbs, and again, that is normal. The flap might ooze and it can bleed sometimes, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're doing harm. We will just be monitoring everything very closely, and we won't be asking you to do anything that you shouldn't be doing.
When you've had an open fracture, it's likely that you will experience an increase in pain, changes in your mobility, change in the appearance of your leg, and also a sense of uncertainty about what the future is going to hold. And it's very normal for this to bring up a range of different feelings.
I think it probably hit me a couple of weeks later what had happened, and just so sad really about it all, and I trying to think, could I have done anything differently, really beating myself up.
A massive roller coaster of emotion, from sorry for myself, worried about other people, probably hadn't cried since I was a child, to, absolute despair almost.
Research shows us that there's no link between how severe a person's scar is and how concerned they are by it. Actually, the key thing is how noticeable the scar feels to them, and how much this bothers them. And I guess it's important for you to feel in control of how you see your scar and when you see your scar.
My heel was done first, so initially I would just sort of have a really quick look, and then another look, and I just sort of did it like that. I would just have glances, and the glances got longer.
Patients will quite often say to me that they feel detached from their injured limb, that they feel it's not part of their body. And some may say that they feel guilty or vain for being concerned about their appearance. I guess it's important to get a balance between not completely avoiding looking at the injury site and not excessively checking it.
I'd seen the actual state of my leg and the wound. That was quite a leveller, I think, to actually see what was going on, because obviously I didn't have a cast or anything. It was a soft dressings over the wound, and it probably wasn't until after a week that I started to understand a little bit more about what was actually going on, the injury, and how it was going to play out.
I was told that my body would go for this, huge amount of healing over a short period of time, but when you're at the start of the journey, you can't really see it and you can't feel it, but then when you look back, you realise how far you've come.